Why, hello everybody. So, welcome to another Simplicity of Logic. Today's topic, using probability in every decision in life. Now, to first, how this is going to go again is very simple. I'm going to start with an intro explaining the topic. Then, after that, I'll give the objections to my point of view, the support, and then a conclusion. So, let's start with an intro. Using probability in every decision in life. Now, the kind of probability I'm talking about is not, well, I guess you can also say it is a mathematical one, but for me, I tend to use a more aggregate kind of, like how you say, math, because I'm not very good at math. I think I did horribly in the last few years of my schooling in secondary school and all. Before I went to university, I wasn't very good at it, never have been, and it's more of an aggregate kind of math because I tend to tell myself, for example, let's say I have to cross a puddle of water to get to my objective, let's say a library or whatever. If I step in there, in the water, I'll get 100% wet, but I'll get 100% to the library. But if I don't, I'll be 100% dry, but I will be 100% not going into the library. So then after that, you look at your goal. Goal is I really need something at the library now, or by today. So by the probability standards, you probably would choose the decision with 100% you get to the library, even though you get wet, because you can deal with getting wet. You can wash the clothes later. You can clean your shoes later, and such. So that's the kind of probability I'm talking about. Is very, for me, it veers toward which side is more profitable, should we say. It doesn't have to be like a absolute math, meaning I must have all the points of view, all the math must be done and such. So, now objections to my point. All right, the objections to the literature that I read against using probability in every decision in life is very much more from the emotional side of debate. The debates all come in a way of doing something spontaneous, following your heart and such is really much more fulfilling, as they say, and it has a sense of adventure. It fulfills you. There's a satisfaction that, or rather a surprise that can only come by doing something against the math. Like example, Spartacus would not have made his great revolt and would not be remembered in history if he did the math against the Roman Empire. Spartacus was a slave who had the most successful slave revolt in Roman history. If Colonel Sanders from KFC had given up by probability after, I think they said he tried 1,000 times. Again, these are all rumor. I didn't research the Colonel Sanders one that well, but I think they said he tried 1,000 times and then he succeeded at the 1,001st or something like that. If he had done the probability by the 500th time, he should have gave up. Then you would not have KFC and he would not be remembered forever. And I agree. I give them their point. That is true. There is a sense of surprise and sense of fulfillment that comes from doing things by following your heart in a way and not using probability, because if it will be pretty, in their view, stagnant to see everything in that way. But that being said, I do disagree. And again, it's up to your goals. I'm not saying that probability is the be all end all, but if someone wants to follow their heart and they feel that there's a satisfaction towards that, I can respect that. I can respect that point that they're giving, that it is, because I do agree that it is more fulfilling, it's more spontaneous, it's more, the surprise is a great feeling. But I do disagree on a philosophical and a evidential kind of point. And that's how I'm going to explain that now with the supports. Firstly, having probability helps you make a goal very easy. Alright, but this being said, you have to really know yourself for that, because as time changes, you know, and all that, if you keep going towards a wrong goal and you don't notice that your real goal, for example, is something in time, you'll be totally unfulfilled at the end of the day. In fact, to give a lot of these points now, I would suggest watching the full lectures by Yale University on game theory, which I will link below, the full set series. Alright? That really opened my eyes. I didn't get everything. I got the Nash theory, I didn't get the Cornell theory that well and all that, but it's a great way of listening and putting things into perspective, like with this aggregate kind of percentages, where you don't know your full information set, but you're trying to make the best decision possible. So it helps you chase goals. Once you have all your, because once you use everything by probability, you can see whether it's a good idea overall to go for decision. Like, I give you an example personally. When I was young, I wanted to be like Alexander the Great. Wanted to be great, wanted to conquer the world and all that. But that was a dream. I mean, that was the follow the heart thing. But can it happen? Can I become in this modern age? At the time, it was when I was really young. You're probably looking at the 1990s. Could it be possible? Very unlikely. Not saying it was impossible, but and it's 2013 now. Still haven't done it. Sadly to say, but as you can see, if I had used that time, the probability to figure out, I'm in a very, Singapore is I am a safe country for me at least. So it's very unlikely to gain the military strength and all that here. If I wanted to do that, I would have to leave Singapore and all that. But am I willing to do that? Am I willing to trade in days in the forest and the jungle and all? And the answer would be no. So if I knew that earlier, maybe I could have focused my goals towards something more. Maybe I could have been happier sooner in a way. Next is, it also makes decisions very easy. Like nowadays, everything I want to do, I put some probability to it. Example, if I want to cut my hair, if I need to go to a part-time job and I need to look clean cut and all, I just use probability. I 100% want to do this before I go to that day at the job. So the next day I will tell myself I should go because 100% I want this done. There's no procrastination, nothing. The problem with doing things by heart is that you tend to procrastinate. You keep going, I do it tomorrow. I want the spontaneity of it. So you don't plan anything. And to be honest, I do agree with that cliche line. If you don't plan, you plan to fail. So it definitely makes you more focused, gives you a goal to go towards. It makes decisions very easy because you're using all the probability. Like example, when I told you, I want this done, and I want it done 100%. I want my haircut 100% for sure. So let's just do it. And yes, so basically that's my support for that. The main focus. I don't want to drag it out with the same points over and over again. And most of the rest of the stuff I have is along those lines. So I'm gonna end it here. In conclusion, I feel that you should use probability as much as possible. Maybe, and again, not absolutely. It's not a be all and end all. That's not what I'm advocating. When I say using probability in every decision in life, at least factor it in, because it really, really helps you focus. Help you make a decision faster. Because the problem I usually see is people who procrastinate because they don't see that probability. They see that, they don't see the example when, like example, people who turn out late all the time. They don't see that it's by them turning up late 100% all the time, they're 100% making sure that people don't like them, or at least a very high percentage, 90% or something like that. Whereas if they just knew that percentage, would they do it? It wouldn't be logical, right? There you go. So, thank you very much, and till next word.